Welcome back to another episode of Black to the Film. So, like I said, I'm gonna try to make a go with this. I'm gonna try to do at least a video a day. It's kind of difficult because it's hard to stay inspired, but I'm gonna make an effort. So, without further ado, here we go. Before I start, I just want to bring everyone's attention to my book, Black to the Film, 104 great black films to watch. It's a great book. I'll put the link if anybody wants to pick it up. Let me know. And if you like this video, let me know. I will send you a code to get a free electronic ebook. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about HBO's, well, actually, it's HBO Max newest sensation, Lovecraft Country. And I mean, it's an amazing show. It's got one of my new favorite actors, Jonathan Majors, and you might know him from The Last Black Man in San Francisco, where he was brilliant. It also has the esteemed Courtney Vance, who is also one of my favorite actors. I think he's the consummate actor. I would so love to see him play one of those villains, one of those evil geniuses like what's his name plays in Blacklist. Like I forgot the guy who plays in Blacklist. What is his name? I would love to see him play a role. I would love to see him play a role like James Spader in Blacklist. I would love to see Courtney Vance play a role like that. I think that would be crazy brilliant. Anyway, Lovecraft Country. Well, Lovecraft Country, it takes place in the Jim Crow era South, which, as you know, for us, our kind of people, is a horror movie all by itself. So I don't even know if they have Lovecraft Country down as like a horror, a thriller, a sci-fi. But if it was supposed to be scary, it's really hard to be frightened for these people because you already know that the environment they're in is already dangerous by itself. They don't have to do anything else. You know what I mean? But it interweaves sci-fi and mystic and Jim Crow together in an insane gumbo. And you would think like it would almost make these characters fearless. They would be being presented with a new purview of the world in front of them that they did not know was there. They would have no fear. They would be fearless because the world that they actually recognize as being real and legitimate is fear by itself. So there's no danger for them in this world, right? But there really is actual danger. So, but you would think that they would be fearless in this world, but they're not. It's kind of like you go from being afraid to having fear, and then you have more fear, which I don't really comprehend, but that's how it was written, apparently. So, but I really love that they put in there a lot of things that people need to understand about the Jim Crow era. They have one of the characters that Courtney Vance plays. He plays what is his name? George Freeman. He plays Uncle Freeman. His character is a publisher of the Green Book, which is, there was a movie out called The Green Book. He publishes a version of the Green Book, which is basically the Negro motorist guide to travel. It's something that every Negro motorist had to have back in the days because traveling on them Jim Crow South roads was dangerous. I mean, being a black motorist has never been safe anywhere in America, but back then you had to know where to get gas, where to get servicing, where to get food, where to lay your head. There was particularities about what to do in each point of the path you chose to take. Some places were just, what they call, as you see in the movie a lot, sundown towns, and that was real. That was like you would be murdered if you were in this town past the sun going down. Now, I don't know what the logic of that was, but I don't plan on finding out. I don't plan on finding out. But anyway, it's a great show. A lot of great characters. It's got Janelle Smollett in there, and she's amazing. So, for those of you that like to see a lot of hot and heavy action, he's getting it in. They got the brother in Korea, where that's another episode where they actually introduce him to another mystical creature, which I think is really supposed to be his initiation into the world of paranormal. And they introduce him to another mystical creature. I call it a Wendigo, but they have another name for it in Korea, and the Japanese have another name for it. But it's interesting that, this is like his initiation, and it comes back around full circle. When it happens, it's like one of those things that when it happens, it doesn't have a place in your life, but eventually you follow a path, and then you're like, oh, I see why that happened. Now I can be prepared for what I was told was going to happen to me anyway. So he has his first advantage, actually, But anyway, it's interesting. I know people will say this a lot, is that you have a black person from the Jim Crow South America who goes overseas to Korea, and he's, murdering Korean people in the Korean War. He's in the army. He's murdering people. He's violent. He's doing things he would not be doing in America to the enemy of white supremacy. To white supremacy, which is the enemy of him in America, And I just find that compelling that, they would let the black men go overseas and let him loose. And then bring him back here and murder him. And the same black men would not let themselves loose here like they would somewhere else. It's kind of weird correlation of things. But anyway, there's a lot of chatter about it. I don't like to spoil it, so it's kind of hard for me to talk about it. I would say my best episode would be Whitey's on the Moon. That's my best episode. I like that episode. And I also like probably Sundown. I think you can watch Sundown a lot of times. One of the interesting parts in Sundown, one of the interesting scenes in Sundown is when they actually are ambushed by white supremacist police officers, and they take them into the woods and they're about to execute them. And then out of nowhere, a monster comes and just totally obliterates one of these white supremacist police officers. And then they're all in shock, right? Everybody's all in shock, like, what the hell just happened? And then somebody says something about monsters. One of the white supremacist police officers go, there's no such thing as monsters. And that's funny to me because they were being the monsters for the black people. But now there's a monster for them. And oh man, that's a good scene. You gotta watch that scene. It's highly entertaining. But they drop a lot of tidbits in there. Well, Uncle George was dropping a lot of tidbits in there about why the White House is actually painted white, which is pretty good. I didn't know that. A lot of things in there they put little jewels, But it's a good show. Check it out. Lovecraft Country. It's on HBO Max. Comes on every Sunday. If you want to see it earlier, you can get HBO Max, because HBO Max, they release the episode early Sunday morning, depending on what time zone you're in. But, it helps me to do it that way because I get distracted and I forget when it's on live. So I can just watch it on HBO Max anytime during the day, which is mostly towards the end of my day when I'm really ready to sit down and go along. I like that they don't really keep the cliffhangers too heavy. Game of Thrones used to do that a lot. They used to get you right to the peak, and then that's cliffhanger. I don't like cliffhangers. So it really, I can tell you this, the story really is a slow progression into discovering what they call magic. You're being introduced into the occult, and what they call magic. These black people are discovering about this, They're discovering, I like to call it the wizard behind the curtain, right? So you live in the Wizard of Oz. You live in Oz, which is the world that you know to be real. And then there's a man behind a curtain that you know nothing about. Well, but he's always there. You just don't know anything about it. Well, they got to peek behind the curtain right now, and they're peeking behind the curtain, and they're kind of like, no, 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 no. Well, that explains it then. You know what I'm saying? So it's slowly taking us to that level. I hope it doesn't get dry. I can't wait to see where the first season goes. But I'm on board with this show. I really like it. I really like it a lot. What else? What else? What else? I think that's it. I don't got much to say about it. Without spoiling it. So I'll probably maybe talk about the next episode coming up. But anyway, check out my book, Black to the Film: 100 Great Black Films to Watch. And I'm trying to think of something, because I'm trying to think of something political to say about it. But I really don't have a problem. I really don't have a problem with it, except that I don't understand how. I think it's unrealistic that the black characters are able to manage in the world while doing this as they are. It just was such a dangerous time, and they're involved with dangerous people because they're not, they're not dealing with white supremacists. They're dealing with people who have an agenda, a real agenda to do uncanny things in this verse, and the masks that these people wear are powerful masks. They wear a mask as white people. They're really not white people. They're really occultists. It's totally different. They consider themselves different than that. They're beyond that petty stuff. I mean, they play the mask, but they're beyond. Let's be real. They're beyond that petty stuff, and that's how he's able to become indoctrinated into their world. Because if their world was like that, he wouldn't be able to become indoctrinated. That's what I wanted to say. We actually see for the first time in film, because we always see slavery films, right? Slavery films. But we actually see for the first time in film a generation, probably second, maybe second, third, a third generation ADOS individual. Okay, that's who he plays, Atticus. That's who Jonathan Myers plays, Atticus. Jonathan Majors, I mean, he plays Atticus because he's a third generation American descendant of slaves. Because his great grandmother was raped by the slave master, who is like a grand wizard over the occultists and the lodge. She carried that baby, who became his grandparent, who then had his mother, who then had him. So you actually get to see, they show you that a lot. And it's kind of uncanny because you actually get to see firsthand the world of American descendants of slaves. And you can see how it wasn't that long ago. You think about time, it wasn't that long ago that you still had black women who were pregnant with their slave master's child at the end of slavery, carrying them babies to term, and then raising them. Think about that for a minute, right? All right, that's all I got for today. And check out Lovecraft Country. All right, peace. Back to the film, baby. See the poster.